Very good morning. Welcome to the Breakfast News on Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya with you. All the big stories from India and across the world coming up ahead. First up, a look at the headlines. Prime Minister Modi shares India's efforts to be a $5 trillion economy, calls world-class infrastructure, affordable healthcare and quality education as other policy priorities for his government. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu to deliver India's national statement at a plenary meeting of 18th NAM Summit in Azerbaijan. Hold bilateral meetings with the member countries on 25th and 26th of October. All set for counting of votes in Maharashtra and Haryana. Results of by-polls to 51 assembly seats and 2 Lok Sabha constituencies also to be announced tomorrow. Special coverage on Rajya Sabha TV from 7 a.m. onwards. 3 Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists killed in Jammu and Kashmir. State government to screen films in each district in Kashmir to provide wholesome entertainment in regions where cinema theatres were shut since the outbreak of militancy. And Sourav Ganguly set to take over as 39th BCCI president today. Jay Shah as the secretary. Mahim Verma of Uttarakhand is the cricket board's new vice president. New appointments and a 33-month stint of Supreme Court appointed Committee of Administrators. The top story this morning, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday held a meeting with the high-profile members of a JP Morgan International Council. And in the meeting, the Prime Minister informed them about government's efforts to make India a $5 trillion economy by 2024-2025. He also highlighted the development of a world-class physical infrastructure and improvements in affordable healthcare in India. He said that providing quality education is also a priority for the government. He asserted that people's participation remained a guiding tenet of policy making for his government. And former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair, former US Secretaries of State Condoleezza Rice and Henry Kissinger and Tata Sons Chairman Emeritus Ratan Tata were part of the council. And in a tweet after the meeting, Prime Minister Modi called it a good interaction. The Prime Minister also said that he had great discussions with Kissinger, Blair and Rice and talked about wide-ranging global issues. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu will lead an Indian delegation to Azerbaijan on 25th of October. The Indian delegation will participate in the 18th Summit of Heads of the State and Government of the Non-Aligned Movement or NAM to be held in Baku in Azerbaijan. Vice President Naidu will also deliver India's national statement during the plenary meeting of the NAM summit. He is also expected to hold bilateral meetings with his counterparts from other NAM member countries on the sidelines of the summit. He will also meet the members of the Indian community in Azerbaijan at a reception organized by the Indian Embassy. The theme for the summit this year is upholding the principles to ensure concerted and adequate response to the challenges of contemporary world. Chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the Union Cabinet is set to meet today at his residence. Now, the Cabinet is likely to take decisions on some key issues. And earlier, the meeting of the Union Cabinet was held on 15th of October, in which the centre hiked the dearness allowance for the government employees by 5%. And Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi on Tuesday sought the cooperation of the opposition parties in the smooth conduct of the winter session of Parliament that would begin on 18th of November. Let's take a listen.
4 बिल अभी हमारे पास पेंडिंग है और 7-8 बिल आने का संभावना है। वो सब इसमें हम कंप्लीट करने वाला है। और जैसे लास्ट टाइम मैं अपोजिशन पार्टी को भी विनती करता हूं, जैसे लास्ट टाइम उन लोगों ने कोऑपरेशन किया और सिर्फ सरकार को नहीं, सिर्फ स्पीकर और चेयरमैन साहब को नहीं, सब पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के बारे में लोगों का इज्जत बढ़ा है, क्योंकि हमने ठीक तरह से संसद चला है। यही अपेक्षा मैं इस बार भी करता हूँ।
And preparations are in place in Haryana and Maharashtra for the counting tomorrow, and security arrangements are in place at the counting centers in both the states. The counting will begin at 8 a.m. tomorrow, and heavy security has been deployed in sensitive areas and also Naxal-affected areas in Maharashtra. Meanwhile, the Election Commission has ordered a repolling at one booth each in 5 assembly segments in Haryana. Counting of votes for the by-polls to 51 Assembly and 2 Lok Sabha seats will also be held tomorrow. And of course, Rajya Sabha TV will be bringing you all the live updates from both the states from 7 a.m. onwards. Big story from Jammu and Kashmir, where Governor Satyapal Malik has hit out at the separatists and the mainstream leaders. He said that the leaders of Hurriyat and the mainstream parties, the religious preachers and clerics have used their influence to get the children of ordinary Kashmiris killed, while none of them lost their own to terrorism. The Jammu and Kashmir governor appealed to the people to understand the truth and join the centre's efforts to usher in peace and progress in the state. He was addressing the 7th convocation of Sri Matna Vaishno Devi University in Katra town on Tuesday.
यहाँ के नेताओं ने, यहाँ के ब्यूरोक्रेट्स ने, यहाँ के बड़े लोगों ने, यहाँ के ताकतवर लोगों ने कितने लोगों के सपने तोड़े हैं और कितने नौजवानों को बर्बाद किया। अब ये जितने यहाँ सोसाइटी के लीडर कहे जाते हैं, रिलीजन के लीडर कहे जाते हैं, मौलवी कहे जाते हैं, या हुर्रियत के लोग कहे जाते हैं, या मेन स्ट्रीम की पार्टी के लोग कहे जाते हैं, ये दूसरों को कॉल दे के मरवाते हैं। इसमें किसी का बच्चा नहीं मरा है, एक का भी बच्चा नहीं मरा है, किसी का बच्चा टेररिज्म में नहीं गया है, सबके बच्चे बाहर पढ़ रहे हैं, सबके बच्चे वेल सेटल्ड हैं। आम आदमी के बच्चों को अल्लाह का और जन्नत का रास्ता दिखाइए और उनको मरवा दीजिए। ये यहाँ होता रहा।
More news from Jammu and Kashmir, where 3 terrorists have been killed in an encounter with the security forces in Awantipora in Jammu and Kashmir on Tuesday. And according to the police, arms and ammunition have been recovered from the site, and the identities and affiliation of the terrorists are being ascertained. A search is underway in the area currently. The encounter began in the outskirts of Awantipora on Tuesday evening. The security forces had launched a cordon and search operation in Awantipora following inputs about the presence of militants there. And several journalists were injured on Tuesday after the police raided a press club in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir during the media briefing. Now, visuals from outside the press club showed police firing tear gas shells and lathi charging the journalists, as well as breaking their recording equipment. Now, JKPNA has announced a protest in front of the Pakistan High Commission in London on Thursday. The Supreme Court on Tuesday transferred to itself all cases related to the linkage of social media profiles with Aadhaar pending in different high courts. The top court also asked the centre to submit its report in January to check social media misuse. The order was passed in the transfer petition filed by Facebook and WhatsApp, seeking the transfer of various pending cases to the Supreme Court. Now, the primary case concerning the linkage of Aadhaar with social media and WhatsApp traceability is pending before the Madras High Court, and the centre has sought time till 15th of January next year for finalizing the social media norms to make intermediaries more reliable and accountable. The Apex Court then fixed the next date of hearing for the last week of January 2020. The Indian Air Force carried out successful firing of BrahMos surface-to-surface missiles. The test firing was done from a mobile platform in Andaman Nicobar Islands. The drill to check the Indian Air Force's capability to hit targets with pinpoint accuracy at targets close to 300 kilometers was conducted on both Monday and Tuesday. And the officials said that a direct hit on the target was achieved in both the cases. The 2.5-ton surface-to-surface missile has a range of around 300 kilometers. BrahMos Aerospace, India-Russia joint venture, produces the missile that can be launched from submarines, from ships, aircraft, or from land platforms. In Breakfast News, time to take a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Continuity or change?
Which way will the vote swing?
Early trends.
Accurate result.
What will the mandate reveal?
Watch the picture unfold
In Haryana and Maharashtra.
Verdict 2019, live on 24th of October, 7 am onwards, only on Rajya Sabha television. What are some key legislations introduced in Rajya Sabha? Some of the key legislations introduced in Rajya Sabha are the Indecent Representation of Women Bill 1986, the Indian Succession Bill 1991, and the Marriage Laws Bill 1999.
Ghata, one of the oldest and most unique percussion instruments of southern India. You can play it not only with your fingers, but palms, wrists and heels as well. You'll be surprised, but the air inside the ghatam reverberates, creating the musical notes. 5 elements of nature, earth, water, air, fire and space, make up the composition of this beautiful musical piece, which has found an apt place in most of the ancient books.
Welcome back after the break. President Ramnath Kovind on Tuesday attended the enthronement ceremony of Japan's new Emperor Naruhito, who completed his ascension to the chrysanthemum throne after his father's abdication earlier this year. The 30-minute ceremony in the Imperial Palace, featuring elements of ancient protocol and glory of a monarchy that claims 2,000 years of history. Around 2,000 guests, including dignitaries from about 190 countries and international organizations, attended the ceremony. The Rashtrapati Bhavan in a statement said that on the sidelines of the enthronement ceremony, President Ramnath Kovind met President Bidya Devi Bhandari of Nepal. The two leaders discussed several issues of mutual interest and bilateral cooperation between India and Nepal. And Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu addressed the officials of the Rajya Sabha Secretariat and said that the members should focus on resolving issues through discussions instead of causing obstruction in Parliament. He also stressed on the need for a social impact assessment to study the impact of laws on society.
Today is a red letter day that would always be remembered in the history of Rajya Sabha Secretariat.
Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu has expressed hope that members of various political parties will resolve issues through talk rather than interrupt the Parliament session. Addressing officials of the Rajya Sabha Secretariat, he said that changes are being made so as to minimize interruptions and help in the proper functioning of Parliament.
Let the government propose, let the opposition oppose, and let the House dispose. That is the best manner in democracy. There is no other shortcut methods. So you must be always tolerant to the other point of view, and then you must always come out with new ideas and then move on. That's my advice to all the parliamentarians and legislators. In the coming days, I hope that there will be further improvement in the functioning of the Parliament.
The chairman further added that the Parliament secretariats have a vital role to play in lawmaking and that it is necessary to identify flaws, if any, at the bill proposal stage itself. The Vice President also emphasized on the need for a social impact assessment to study the impact of laws on society.
Each bill is accompanied by a statement of reasons containing justification for each legislative proposal and also contains the financial implications, if any, of that proposal. So that gives an opportunity to read and understand the purpose. But I find that at present there is some lacuna with regard to the assessment of the impact of legislations being made by Parliament and legislatures of the state. Informed registration will help us in realizing the stated objectives of various laws. This requires a detailed impact of assessment of registration at the stage of both pre-registration and post-registration. This impact assessment could cover social impact, economic impact, impact on the existing institutions, and environmental impact.
The chairman was addressing newly recruited officials of the Rajya Sabha Secretariat, including 151 officials recruited since 2016. Naidu also advised them to gain technical and legislative knowledge as well as to be fit and maintain good health. Panchanand Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
On some other news now, Rajya Sabha Chairman Venkaiah Naidu and Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla on Tuesday met a group of union ministers and held discussions with them regarding the upcoming winter session of Parliament. Remember, the next session of Parliament will start from 18th of November and will continue till 13th of December. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu has called upon the youth to strive to build a new India that would be free of poverty, illiteracy, fear, corruption, hunger and discrimination. The Vice President also urged them to play a key role in addressing important issues such as climate change and degradation of natural resources. Speaking at the first convocation of SRM University, the Vice President asked the youth to become agents of change and come out with innovative and sustainable solutions to the challenges faced by the mankind.
Everybody must strive to build a new India which is free of poverty, illiteracy, fear, corruption, hunger and discrimination. Discrimination of any kind, no social discrimination. Who is upper caste, who is lower caste? Who has decided this? What is the sanction for this? Vedas did not sanction it. Shastras did not sanction it. It came in between. It all depends on your knowledge, your capacity, not because of your community.
And the Vice President also said that the integration of India's traditional knowledge base and modern education system was important to provide a holistic education system. The Vice President suggested a complete overhaul of the higher education system to transform universities and colleges into centers of excellence.
It is important for you to inculcate Indian values, understand the great heritage, culture, traditions of our country. You must also learn to treat fellow human beings with respect. Education must transform an individual into a responsible human being with the social, moral and ethical values instilled in him or her, apart from making the person more productive. Apart from remolding the syllabi and pedagogy, the stress should be on learning by doing. Learning by doing. Preserving India's traditional knowledge base and integrating it with the modern education system is important as we rapidly advance towards building a knowledge-based society.
On to some other news now. A delegation of the heads of 91 foreign missions in India reached Amritsar on Tuesday to pay obeisance at the Har Mandir Sahib in connection to the celebrations of 550th Prakash Parv of Guru Nanak Dev. The delegation was taken to the Heritage Street where they witnessed the playing of Gatka, a popular Sikh martial art. They also visited the Partition Museum in Amritsar. The visit comes in the wake of the decision by the Union Cabinet to celebrate the 550th birth anniversary of Guru Nanak Dev on 12th of November across the country in a grand manner.
Delhi कोई 90 एम्बेसडर्स इस डेलीगेशन च आए ने इन्हां च कई ते इहो जिहे जेहड़े पिछले कोई 10-11 बार भी आ चुके ने पर कुछ जेहड़े बड़ी पहली बार आए ने ते बहुत ही मैं समझना सिर्फ अनप्रेसिडेंटेड नहीं है हिस्टोरिक हैगा पर इहदे च एज वी आर सेलिब्रेटिंग द 550th बर्थ एनिवर्सरी ये बड़ा एक शानदार इनिशिएटिव ICCR ने लिता है तो इन्हां दा मैं धन्नवाद करना चाहांगा विनय जी दा।
Let's get you all the international news now. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau won a second term in a nail-biting election on Tuesday, losing the majority but delivering unexpectedly strong results despite having been weakened by a series of scandals that tarnished his image as a liberal icon. Now, Trudeau's Liberal Party emerged as the largest party, though it fell short of the 170 seats needed for a complete majority. With the results still trickling in, the Liberals have 157 seats, which is 13 short of a majority in the 338-seat House, while the rivals Conservatives have 121. Now, Trudeau requires the support of at least 13 legislatures to reach the magic number of 170 to form a Liberal Party-led minority government in Parliament. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated Canadian Premier Justin Trudeau for returning to power and said that he was looking forward to working together to further strengthen bilateral relations. And all the updates on the Brexit story now in British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's plan to fast-track his Brexit deal through Parliament was blocked by MPs last night. The lawmakers rejected the 3-day deadline for debating the Brexit bill after passing it in principle. Now, Johnson said that he was pausing the legislation until he had spoken to European Union leaders. He said that the UK is now facing further uncertainty. He said that the approval for the timetable would have guaranteed that the UK would be in a position to leave the European Union on 31st of October with a deal. The Commons supported the withdrawal agreement bill earlier but voted against the short timetable. And earlier, the bill passed 329 votes to 299. However, the MPs later voted 322 to 308 against the speeding up of the timetable for the bill. Meanwhile, the President of the European Council, Donald Tusk, said that he will recommend the EU leaders that they postpone Brexit beyond the current 31st of October deadline.
Mr. Speaker, I must express my disappointment that the House has again voted for delay, rather than a timetable that would have guaranteed that the UK would be in a position to leave the EU on October the 31st with a deal. And we now face further uncertainty, and the EU must now make up their minds over how to answer Parliament's request for a delay. And the first consequence, Mr. Speaker, is that the government must take the only responsible course and accelerate our preparations for a no-deal outcome.
And in more international news, the Russian and Turkish leaders have made a deal to share the control of Syria's northeast that requires the Kurdish fighters to clear the entire length of the Syria-Turkey border. The deal allows Turkey to maintain the control of the areas it pushed into launching its offensive into Syria earlier this month. Now, the agreement allows Russian and Syrian troops to control the rest of the border. The agreement gives the Kurdish fighters time to clear the remaining areas alongside the Turkey-Syria border. The 5-day pause in Turkey's invasion of northeast Syria was negotiated by US Vice President Mike Pence and Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. On to some sports news now, and Sourav Ganguly will take charge as the 39th president of the BCCI in Mumbai today. Ganguly is the unanimous nomination for the post of a BCCI president, along with the Home Minister Amit Shah's son, Jay Shah, as the secretary. Mahim Verma is the new vice president. Former BCCI president and current MOS Finance Anurag Thakur's younger brother, Arun Dhumal, is the treasurer. And Kerala's Jayesh George is the new joint secretary. Now, these nominations will end the 33-month reign of the Supreme Court appointed Committee of Administrators, or COA. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Breakfast News. Thanks for watching. Have a great day ahead.